Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Silver Slayer. So, the other day, I was driving past this huge billboard on the highway, and it was showing a live counter of the U.S. national debt. I should have felt bad and worried, but for some reason, I smiled. I think because I was relieved that there was something out there exposing the reality of our financial system to the masses. Whether people look at it or not, that's really not the point. The point is that someone put in time, money, and energy to put up that billboard and to show the world the truth. Welcome to my channel. So there's this site called usdebtclock.org. It shows a live counter of the US national debt. Unfortunately, it's $27,549,966,000,000 in debt. Every about 10 seconds, we gain another $1 million in debt. Check this out. 967 million just occurred. Now, in about 6 seconds or so, it's about to be 968 million. That's a scary thought. That's a scary sight. We're trying to get ourselves out of debt by replacing it with more debt. It's like trying to pay off a credit card with another credit card. And look, 968 million. Now, we just gained another $1 million in debt from what was that 5-10 seconds? This number's never going to get better. It's never going to go in the green. It's only going to get worse, and it has to collapse at some point. This number can't just go to infinity without consequences. Did you know that the dollar has lost 98% of its purchasing power? 98%, not 97%, not 99%. 98% is a literal number. It's getting worse. 44% in the last 20 years. That is serious. I don't think people can comprehend how serious this is. The dollar's on its last leg. And you see how it's $27 trillion? We're about to throw out another $1 trillion in stimulus. So we had the CARES Act in the beginning of the year. We have this stimulus, and since Christmas, Thanksgiving, and New Year's are all within a couple month time frame, this virus is only going to spread times 10. So next year is not going to be a recovery. It's going to be a recession. It's going to be a very scary sight, especially to the ones that think that things are about to get better. They're going to be sadly mistaken. Now, what this means is that the dollar is only going to get weaker. And remember, the dollar and silver have a direct correlation. Dollar index is high, gold and silver goes low. Dollar index is low, gold and silver goes high. So since we know the dollar is going to be weaker, I can literally prove right here that silver and gold will be up next year. So this article is talking about how gold and silver gain as greenback continues to slide, what we were just saying. So gold and silver futures prices are moderately higher in midday trading Wednesday. A depreciating U.S. dollar on the foreign exchange market that saw the U.S. dollar index hit a new 2.5-year low today is bullish for precious metals, what we were just talking about. And this is the other thing. When we throw out this $1 trillion or the $900 billion stimulus, to catch up for all that money we give out that we literally don't have, right? We don't have $900 billion to give away. But we have no choice. What is the candidate going to do? What's the government going to do? Tell all these people that are out of businesses and out of jobs that we don't have that money to give out. Sorry, we can't give out this money or it's going to hurt. It's going to hurt our nation. It's going to hurt the dollar. They have no choice. They have to give this money out to people, right? But at what cost? There's going to be a cost to pay. We can't just throw this money out and not have consequences. And here's the consequences. The dollar could collapse entirely. But this pandemic has put us in a situation, it's like a dog backed in the corner. There's no easy way out, and there's no light consequence. Everything's going to be severe. We knew this time was coming eventually. The pandemic just sped it up times 10. Right? I've been making videos for years on this channel. I've been making videos for about 5 years on this channel talking about this time coming, and now it's here. Now it's here. We're here. Why we've been investing in precious metals is for moments like this. So, however, gold and silver bulls are still being somewhat squelched by rallying U.S. and global equity markets that see the U.S. stock indexes near record highs. February gold futures were last up $7.10 at $1,890. March COMEX silver last up 28 cents at $26.50 an ounce. Global stock markets were mostly up overnight. U.S. stock indexes are higher at midday. Trader and investor risk appetite remains elevated as market participants are opting to look just over the horizon to see what will likely be strong economic recoveries underway as soon as late spring, and choosing to look beyond the pandemic that appears to be at its peak for infections and deaths in the U.S., which has forced new businesses and public restrictions that are still hamstringing economic growth. Colorado has reported its first official U.S. case of the new strain of faster spreading COVID that has hit the UK. So there's this new, it's literally been transforming. This virus has been mutating to a stronger, faster virus, which is extremely daunting. It's extremely troubling to think about that, because the rate that this virus spread when it was weak was catastrophic. This wasn't an epidemic. We're in a global pandemic. So think about a stronger, faster, more deadly version. I never thought those zombie apocalypse movies were real. But if this thing doesn't get nipped in the butt now, who knows what could happen in a couple years? I'm not trying to be some doomsday catastrophic, right, portrayer, but the reality is things could get a lot worse and not get better at all. I mean, to be honest, these vaccines need to get out pronto, and not just to a high-risk people, but for the everyday people. Because think about Thanksgiving in Canada. This is the perfect example to explain or to showcase the severity of what the United States is facing right now. Canada had Thanksgiving in October. After Canada had Thanksgiving in October, their positive cases for this virus spread faster than any other country ever. So, and Canada is a much smaller country than the United States. So the United States a couple months later had Thanksgiving. Now we had Christmas, and then we have New Year's. And it's a bigger country. So if Thanksgiving alone set Canada those highs, then think about Christmas and New Year's on top of that with a much larger country. Things are about to get a lot worse. I'm not trying to scare you. I'm a realist. I'm not going to try to paint things as rainbows and unicorns if it's not rainbows and unicorns. My channel is about transparency. It's about exposing the truth. And what we can do is protect ourselves, right? Stay at home, but also invest into things that have value, because it's like switching seats on the Titanic. You can have $100,000, $1 million in your bank account, whatever the amount is. But when the dollar collapses, what is that worth? You know, America is the richest country because we own the most gold. So we're determining wealth of a country on how much gold it has, not how much money, how much dollars it has. So if you compare that to a person-to-person basis, someone could have $1 million in their bank account, but the person that has the most gold, that's the person that is valuable or is wealthy. So global stock markets were mostly up overnight. So when we look at trading volumes, they are likely to start to die down at midweek ahead of the New Year's Day holiday on Friday, when governments and markets are closed. The other important outside today market sees February NYMEX crude oil futures near steady and trading around $48 a barrel. The yield on the benchmark 10-year U.S. Treasury note futures is currently around 0.95%. So you can see this very weird chart right now for gold, and looks identical to silver. Technically, February gold futures bulls have the overall near-term technical advantage amid a 4-week-old price uptrend. They are keeping alive on the daily bar chart. Bulls' next upside price objective is to produce a close in December futures above solid resistance at the November high of $1,973. Bears' next near-term downside price objective is pushing futures prices below solid technical support at $1,820. First resistance seen at $1,900. So if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, the resistance and support levels are key critical numbers to watch. The resistance is the top number. Support is the bottom. So if it's saying, let's look at it from a silver perspective. So the support of silver is $25. So if silver, there's a lot of support at 25. So if it breaks below 25, that's a very bad sign. The resistance for silver is $26.98. So there's a lot of resistance around that number. If it breaks through that number, things could get very good. But those are the numbers right now that it's kind of bouncing in between. So that's a key thing. If you're looking at a chart, the main things to look at is the support and resistance levels, right? So anyways, I really want people to look at these numbers. I know the human brain can't even fathom these numbers. The human brain, I don't think, can fathom how big of a number $27 trillion is. Really can't. And what's interesting is look down here. Look down here. The dollar to silver ratio is $4,464 per ounce. That's an interesting number. They even have the dollar to crypto rate. So this does not mean that silver is $4,464 an ounce, obviously. Right. It doesn't. That's not a real thing. But they are comparing this to the dollar from a perspective, or not even a perspective, of a reality of no inflation, nothing that's going to affect it. Remember when I always talk about how stock market volatility could affect the price of precious metals? Remember when I talk about the dollar index even? How a tweet from Donald Trump could send prices skyrocketing. Silver is influenced by a lot of different things. When we're looking at the price, it's looking at it from that specific period in time. But when stock market volatility doesn't affect silver prices, when silver is based on its value alone, that's when we can get a more accurate price of silver. That's when we can get a more accurate price of what it's actually worth. Now, look at some of these other numbers. The state debt, still just as high. I mean, this stuff is crazy. Savings per family is $29,000. Like, I don't think anyone can really understand these numbers. And the scariest part is, and it even shows U.S. federal debt to GDP ratio. 1960 was 52%, 1980, 34%, now 128%. And the U.S. federal spending is $6,717,808,000,000. Debt per citizen, 83,000. I don't know what's going to happen, but I do know. That's interesting. So they're saying in 2024 on this day, the national debt would be $49 trillion. Jeez. Do you think that's going to live on? It has to collapse. It has to collapse at some point. So now we get into silver. I've never been on this part of this. This is actually pretty interesting. So this is in 2024. They're saying silver, world production metals, year to date, 951 million, up 26%. Precious metals reserves, 18,800,000,000. Huh. This is interesting. And it compares country to country. Huh. I've never seen this. I'll have to look more into this. I never looked at it this deep into it, but there's some interesting stuff here. So anyways, I'm going to wrap this video up here. I don't want this video to be too long. If you thought this video was educational, informational, at least entertaining, make sure to smash that like button. We're on the road to 40,000 subscribers. When I hit 40,000, I'm doing probably the biggest giveaway on YouTube. Over $1,000 worth of silver I'll be giving away. 40,000 is a huge milestone. Huge milestone for me. And I cannot thank each and every one of you enough. Right? That $1,000 of silver is nothing to me compared to how valuable you guys are to me. Every single one of you. I see every single one of you as my friends. I really do. I talk to you guys all day long. All day long I'm responding to emails, going to my Instagram DMs, looking at you guys are sending me pictures of your stack, your new coins, talking about questions. You can see some of my coins. I mean, it's just great. It's great to get to better see my audience, my viewers, right? I can actually see your stack, or it's just more personal, and I like it a lot. So anyways, the link to my Instagram is in the description. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure you're subscribed. This was Silver Slayer. I'll see you guys soon. Peace.